What if someone you lost who had died returned? This episode of AfterBuzz TV is brought to you by the powerful and riveting new drama, Resurrection. You won't be able to stop watching or talking about it. Resurrection premiering on Sunday night, March 9th at 9/8 Central, only on ABC. You're not going to want to miss it.
Caleb Richards died 2001. Jacob Langston died 1982. Rachel Braidwood died 2000.
On Sunday, March 9th,
I'm coming home.
they will return.
Daddy!
Jacob.
Resurrection.
How is this possible?
The television series event premieres Sunday, March 9th on ABC.
You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's The Bachelor After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's The Bachelor After Show.
We were waiting for the song. I was wondering what we were going to play. Steven, you got us. Hello, AfterBuzz TV Nation. We all know that with 27 million weekly downloads, listened to in 75 different countries, we're your one stop, one destination for true after-show entertainment. This is The Bachelor, Season 18, Episode 10, The Women Tell All. I'm JC, and across the table...
My name is Danny Hoyt.
Well said.
And I'm Cathy Kelley.
And once again, the aforementioned Stephen Lemieux running the ones and two. How are you, Stephen? Woo! Okay, don't hold back your enthusiasm. Look, we get in a lot of trouble. We've done this for a few seasons now, but The Women Tell All.
Keep it going.
Yes, keep the music going because it feels like to me, we always tend to have like a short show because it pretty much seems like a recap, but however, tonight, I think it felt like a Juan Pablo roast.
It did. And I mean, I feel like Chris Harrison even mentioned it during the broadcast. He said, this is different than any other Women Tell All that we've ever had before. Because usually there are, you know, half the girls are still heartbroken and hoping that he's going to pull a Jason Mesnick. And, you know, it was the claws were out.
Feeding frenzy.
Do you feel that? Like, I felt the energy of the show, and like it's like transferred to us. We're like, kind of like melancholy. We're like,
Yeah.
We're like, every rose has its thorn, man.
Yes, maybe it's just, cut the song, Steven.
You know what? No, it was like a feeding frenzy on Juan Pablo. They were all united in their feelings towards this man. Like, they all want to go have somebody said a glass of sangria and laugh about him at a bar later. That's what I felt like I was watching.
Do you think, we've talked about this before, that it seems like ABC's kind of just, we're wiping our hands clean. The ratings are great. People are still watching, but it just seems like Juan Pablo, it's like a bash fest. I don't know if he'll ever, will he be seen?
Or is it a batch fest?
Bad joke.
Okay.
It's all right.
It's okay.
No, it's all right.
It's okay.
Why didn't, here's a quick note. Why didn't he just, I would have purposely said, if I was Juan Pablo, it's all right. Just to change it up, because the it's okay, everyone hates it. Like Danny, we're going to give Danny his own segment. It's the it's okay segment because we know how you feel about the it's okay.
I'm on board with Andy if he says it again.
Yeah, but before we go any further, let's actually, Cathy, I thought you wanted to bring up a little something aside from The Bachelor.
Yes, you guys heard Maria talk about this at the top of the podcast, but I am ridiculously excited for this new show on ABC called Resurrection. It's all about, I mean, first off, have you ever, just imagine someone that you care about so much, whether it's a family member or a friend, what would you do if they passed away and then they came back to life? How would you react?
That hits me hard because when we first approached this last week, it was actually, I lost my mom in an accident years ago, and it really hit me so hard to think about that if she came back. So when it was brought up to me, that's why it's hard for me to even talk about it. So I'm glad you're taking it.
It resonates. It would hit home, and you wouldn't know how to react really. But this show, it centers around family members who they have lost their loved ones, and then 32 years later, these people come back to life. There's a little boy named Jacob who is 8 years old. He reunites with his parents, and they are totally confused, as I can imagine we all would be.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Because he died 32 years prior. Just the previews alone are so powerful. I've seen billboards all over LA. Did I really die? Yeah. And it just this show, it's so different than anything out there. It's different than the vampire shows. It's different than, you know, all these other sci-fi shows. This is just, it's a really original script and a really original idea as well.
My curiosity is piqued.
Yeah, no, honestly, I haven't been this excited for a show aside from The Bachelor probably since Lost.
Yeah.
It's got that element of mystery to me.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and you've got Brad Pitt's behind it, Plan B's behind it. You've got Omar Epps. You've got, I mean, I'm really excited for this. When's it airing?
You have to mark it in your calendars because it's coming up Sunday, March 9th on ABC, 9/8 Central. And once again, that's ABC's Resurrection, premiering Sunday, March 9th at 9/8 Central. So check it out. I know I will be.
Look forward to it. And are we getting an after show for this? I hope so.
We are.
Yes.
Yeah, it's set.
It's set?
Yes.
It is set.
I have some friends on it that are very excited about it.
Sounds like a tease, sir.
Exclusive. AfterBuzz TV's Resurrection podcast is a go.
So let's get into tonight. So, and of course, I think to counteract the whole drama and negativity with Juan Pablo is we open with Sean and Catherine, which to me it seems like Chris Harrison and Sean, they have this bond.
They do.
They are like brothers. I know they're both from the Dallas area. So
bros.
Yeah, so
I think they want to bring back Sean because they were like, this was the ultimate Bachelor. Remember when we had a good Bachelor? That was great.
Don't you guys remember?
you know what? It was a quick segment.
Yeah. Like their
fireworks.
sex.
You laughed at that one up there for us.
I did. I just threw it up there.
It was a quick segment, but they were gleaming and they seemed happy.
Oh my
and
gosh,
it was
they
good
seem
and-
so freaking
Yes,
cute
they
together.
were.
You can tell that their chemistry is there.
Yeah,
So.
it's even more.
I loved her bangs.
I was just
You're
gonna
looking
say,
good,
Good with
Catherine.
their bangs.
Looking
He
good.
looked like he slimmed down a little bit to me. Like he hasn't had much time to work out.
Yeah.
Well, a different kind of working out.
More cardio.
More cardio.
Oh, thank you. Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know
Fireworks and cardio.
You know, no, I want to see the Bachelor baby. Like, let's say if she does get pregnant, what if they have like this whole reality series on ABC Family and Sean and Catherine having a child together?
Wow.
And all it entails.
Not a bad idea. I bet you people would be into it. You
I
know?
was surprised that they said that they were going to start having kids in a year.
12 months,
Or
yeah.
12 months, as Sean put it.
Yeah, because that's better to say. I was very surprised by that. I think that once they realize how much fun they're having, just them two, in their first year of marriage, I think they'll wait just a little bit longer.
Yeah, I could see
My
that.
personal feeling.
I
think
agree.
they think that now, but 6, 7, 8 months in, I think that they'll change their tune. Just my opinion.
No, they're perfect. I mean, travel the world some more. You know,
Yeah.
perhaps. I mean, they are the epitome of the ideal of what the Bachelor is supposed to be about. Honestly, so can the same be said with this season? Let's move on to. I'm going to defend this guy. I'm throwing it out there. Okay, we've talked about the crutch. We've talked about Isoke. We've talked about Camilla. We've talked about Carla. We've talked about. I want to throw it out there, and AfterBuzz, if they back us up, that'd be great. To have Juan Pablo come in, call in Spanish. I will talk to him in Spanish, have a full-on interview. Is it the editing? Was he misunderstood? Because I know Spanish is my second language.
Yeah.
And you know when he talks about it's okay, I've been called certain things because my Spanish isn't as strong as my English. Hard to believe, but no.
Your English isn't that good either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying next week I'll be signing, but you know, so I kind of understand he has like a crutch phrase that he goes to. So I'm throwing it out there. We'll talk it out in Spanish. You clear the air where you misunderstood. Was it an edit? Talk to us. What really happened? Where do you really stand? You know, in the future, I would love to have a one-on-one with him. From the pervert comment, from everything. It's your chance to, you know, clear the air. No edits. We're here live. We just talk.
Yeah.
You know, just because I
I'd love
think
to hear that personally.
Yeah.
I think he's walked into a buzzsaw. Part of me thinks that. I think he didn't know the full situation. I think the edits. You said what you said, and you still have to stand by him. And the way the story is created for his journey.
Yeah. And I mean, what people don't know is that even the Women Tell All is edited. So
we've been at not a Women Tell All.
We've been at other events put on by them, and the tapings take anywhere from 5 to 10 hours. You are literally there all day, and they are filming the entire time. So I could totally see people having said, defending Juan Pablo more today or whatever, but some of the girls did defend him. The girls that he liked, Andy and Sharleen, did defend him. Renee defended him.
Were you guys surprised that they defended him? I was a little surprised by Andy, not so much Sharleen.
Andy, I feel like, was very political.
Yes.
And I agreed with some of the things that she was saying.
Yeah, I did too.
That I completely agreed with her statement on where I think that Juan Pablo went in wanting to find a girlfriend that he would date afterwards and see if that would happen. And, while all of the girls go in thinking, I'm going to find my husband, potentially.
Unless, in my opinion, unless it was Sharleen. But we'll get into that a little bit later. I think he had his heart set on Sharleen if it was possible. I agree with what you said, but I think Sharleen, and we still have Nikki and Claire, but I'm frustrated. So let's talk about the overall, how good they all look. You love how they all clean up. And, and Kelley, of course, Kelley's a scene stealer as well. And if they bring back Bachelor Pad 4, I want Kelley in there. Because
Molly? Do you want the dog also? Can I say I think she thinks I'm a huge dog person. I've had dogs in my life. I currently own a dog. I'm a dog person, the max. It's my profile picture on my Twitter if you follow me, okay?
Okay.
But I think she thinks that the dog is cuter than it is. Like the dog situation.
That's like when people post pictures of their babies and I'm like, that's an ugly baby.
No, it's not that it's an ugly dog.
I didn't say that.
I think she thinks the situation of her, let me bring the dog everywhere, let me have it on my lap now at the, Women Tell All, it's cuter. I think she thinks it's cuter than it is.
It's okay. It's like a parent about their child. With their soccer pictures. Oh, look at my son.
However, I have to say this about Kelley. I like her a lot more. Like she's grown on me so much.
She was so vocal tonight, and she was saying everything that everyone wanted to say, but wouldn't have the balls to say it.
Yes.
Like she had no filter, but everything that she was saying was dead on.
I hope I see her somewhere, because she's just, I like watching her.
I think she would be a good host, actually.
Bachelor Pad, but here's the thing. What if she would have just stayed on the show a little bit longer? Could she have been?
No,
because she.
I didn't even ask the question.
Because I knew because her and Juan Pablo were too much of this.
No.
Could she have been the next Bachelorette? Sorry.
No.
I don't think so, just because while we thought it was funny, I don't think that all of America understands sarcasm, unfortunately.
No. Crickets.
That was a really creepy laugh on my part. Yeah.
No, but overall thought, this intro, the girls were very complimentary to him at first. And I took down in my notes, Danielle was the first one to throw the first stone.
She was. Physical compliments, I feel like. They were there was more like central around his physicality and his first appearance. Like his first impression gave them all a great feeling. And I think they were commenting on that, not anything. Like I think they compartmentalized that verse later. You know?
Now, did we think, was this accurate or was this a roast? What are we feeling?
I think that was their general, or their genuine feelings. Of what?
Of the start. It started very complimentary, and did it seem like, this is the calm before the storm? Mm-hmm. Here's where the girls are just gonna tear them apart.
And then Danielle opens the door.
It seemed like from the previews that we were gonna get a lot more drama, and whether they cut it out or they just cut that preview last week to look like it was gonna be an S show. I wanted more.
We argue this every time. Cathy, we've done many of this. Danny, this is our first one. Did they deliver for you? Because we always talk about this on other Women Tell All and Men Tell All.
Did they deliver?
From what you saw in the previews.
Oh, from what they saw? No. From what they saw in the previews, no. I mean, do I feel like it? I still feel like I got some things, but there was just a little more of like, like Lauren spoke more than I would have liked to hear more from Chelsea. Chelsea, I don't feel like we heard anything from.
We didn't hear anything from her. I wanted to hear more from Lucy.
I wanted to hear more from Lucy.
Am I crazy?
You're
or
crazy.
did the Women Tell All and the Men Tell All special used to be 2 hours like the regular show? Why did we only have an hour and a half?
Right, we thought we were having a technical like little gap.
Glitch? Yeah. I was also wondering whether it was because usually we got a lot more bloopers, and it didn't seem like they had many bloopers.
Why
so
is
did that
that,
mean
Cathy?
that Juan Pablo wasn't funny enough?
Ding, ding, ding. That's my opinion.
They should. I mean, the girls were
will
hilarious,
say this,
so I'm
though.
surprised that they didn't have more from that.
The thing where he walked up in pink underwear was like where he got up and he walked out.
That
in
was
pink,
so
that was funny.
staged.
But it was
that
funny.
was staged. I'm sorry. Sean did
Okay,
it better.
But it was still funny.
Hashtag Sean Lowe did it better.
Uh-oh, you're starting a bad one. Sean did it better. Sean did it better. Start the hashtag for next week. Okay, all right.
Jeez.
Should we move on to the girls? Let's move on to
Yes.
the one that got away, Sharleen.
Sharleen.
Anything that we learned aside from her being over analytical and defending him?
I felt like she was a little bit on a high horse tonight. Like she made it seem like, as a viewer, I felt like she thinks she's better than everyone.
There was a comment made, and I remember you reacted to this, and I want to make sure we get this correct. Where he said, "Did you know that you were the leading? You were leading?" And she said,
Yes, of course.
She said, "Yes, obviously." She said, "Well, yes, obviously."
I missed that one.
And I didn't know if this was translated as her saying, "Yes, I obviously knew," or "Yes, I obviously
Had no idea.
I had no idea." I couldn't tell, because if it's the
Yeah.
way you think it is, then yes, she's on a high horse. If not, then she's. How did she miss this?
And then that comment about that they brought up tonight from earlier in the season where she said, "I wish I was dumber,"
Yeah.
which then I thought it was funny. Tonight, I kind of, her justification for it was, she wishes she was a little bit dumber so she could have just thrown herself into the situation or whatever it was. But then she said, "I have so many nights when I fall asleep, or I try to fall asleep, but I can't because my mind won't shut off." Do you think that that's something that you're the only person that does that?
You're saying that's normal for girls?
That's normal for everyone. Like, it's not because you're smarter than everyone that you can't fall asleep because you're thinking about stuff. Like, that's a normal thing for every human on the planet.
Cathy, I want to freak you out. I read a study last week that the over-analytical people with a higher IQ tend to be insomniacs. And of course, 60% of all stats are lies anyway.
60% of the time it works. Every time.
No, I really read that, but so she's just trapped
I
in
must
this.
be so smart.
I want to bring this up because you brought this up. She said that I wish I was dumber. When he asks her about that, she says it's because she thinks too much. But when she first said it, I don't think she was referring to herself thinking too much. I think it was a reference to Juan Pablo, and I think she saved. I think she saved it there. Like I think she covered Juan
She
Pablo
wishes
there.
she was dumber so that they
Yes.
would have been a better match.
Yes, that is why I think she
That's
initially
funny.
said
Prop Sharleen.
it. So then I think she kind of covered herself tonight. It was like because I think too much. She
Yeah.
didn't want to open that can of worms.
You caught that because I remember her saying it earlier this season, but I also thought it was about the process. That she had to dumb herself down to the process of
Maybe,
of
yeah.
the editing of reality TV. And
I
of
just
being
think
in the-
her original intention had nothing to do with her thinking too much. I think that was her cover. Because she is smart, and I think she probably was. It's just two different levels with her and Juan Pablo. Something else, though, and I want to bring this up. Chris said, "You are the most intriguing person ever," and I think he got himself. He started
covered it,
talking,
yeah.
and he did cover it, but it was a little weird because he
You're
says,
the most intriguing
person
girl.
we've ever had.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, in reference to your relationship with Juan Pablo. He kind of got himself out of it, but I think he talked himself into a little hole there.
Yeah.
Because do you think she's the most intriguing person ever?
I wanted to say that my comments from earlier, like, I think that she is incredibly smart. Like, I'm not
Yes.
doubting that, but it was just the way that she said those things tonight.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, because we
that
know.
up.
Well, it's clearly
We
apparent
rehash
she's
it.
incredibly smart, yeah.
We analyze every single word they say. It's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
And what is the chat roll? Any? Are we on chat roll? Yeah. Let's see what the fans have to say. Oh no, the fans are saying they thought there was a glitch too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So see, we weren't the only ones. We want more Bachelor, so we can talk about it more. But I was gonna say, Chris has talked about this in other like interviews as well about Juan Pablo being totally into Sharleen, like beyond a doubt. He thought it was done.
And it was apparent the other girls all, when Chris opened up the floor and asked, did you girls see this connection between Sharleen and Juan Pablo? All the other girls were like, yeah, that was his girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, and then going to what you said earlier, Danny, about she knowing, she knew, I understood that she said, it was like, I knew he liked me.
Mm-hmm.
I think she said that later on in their one-on-one with Chris.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's why when she left, she even said, I want to give this spot to someone else. Like, she knew she was safe that week. Mm-hmm. She knew she was sticking around. So obviously he was into her, and he made her feel comfortable and secure enough that she would be moving on.
And okay, and given, you know, we know her as the intellectual bachelorette.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yet when Chris asked her about the besitos, you could still, to me, it seemed like she would still go another round.
It did. That surprised me. That really surprised me because he kind of was.
Street?
He was kind of joking about. What'd you say?
We'll leave it for the fans to repeat what she said.
But I was kind of surprised. He was kind of joking around with her, and she didn't shut it down.
Yeah.
He was like, "If you guys are in the same room, like, can you?" She didn't shut it down.
She's like, I
know, she laughed it off. Like, what?
She justified. We've all been in relationships. She said we've been in relationships
that are purely physical.
Yeah. She's trying to resurrect something old. Resurrection of the. That was terrible. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
I gave you an A for
Dang it. What?
Moving.
My mind's in the gutter tonight.
Resurrection.
Moving on to the lovely
word.
mother, the mother hen.
That's a word that's not in Juan Pablo's vocabulary.
Mother hen. Okay, moving on. Renee.
Renee, can I just start off by saying Renee looked great tonight?
All of the girls look great.
Yes, they did. But specifically, Renee, for me, like, she looks glowingly. She looked like she is so happy.
She even said that.
I know she said that. But even before she said it, you could tell something looked different about her.
Is there more to it?
Yes.
Is that from news and gossip?
No, let's just talk about it now.
Okay.
Renee is engaged.
Renee's engaged.
Happily engaged.
There's a picture.
To a guy that she's known. Yes, there's a picture on Wet Paint, I believe. But Renee is engaged to a guy that she's known since she was 12. They used to date, and she said that he's very good with her son, Ben. So
good for her.
All the girls obviously seemed very happy, and they knew more than she was letting on the Women's Tell All tonight. But they're very happy. If you want to see a picture of them, go online. You can find it there.
I think this opens the road for a contestant we'll talk about a little bit later for Bachelorette now.
Yes.
So overall, I mean, she defended Juan Pablo. I mean, she's been consistent the whole season. Honestly.
Yeah. That must be hard to, now that you have this other relationship and you're trying to have a clean slate, to then watch, you falling for someone else back.
Are you talking about the gentleman that she just got engaged to?
Yeah, well, I mean,
he's not watching the show.
No, I know that he's not watching the show, but for her to, it takes you back to where you were. Since it was videotaped, it takes you back to where you were when you had those feelings, when you got dumped. Like, those feelings.
Well, you could see it on her face. When the video was over, her eyes were glossy. She looked away for a second.
Right.
She definitely still felt it. And I think that's okay. That means it was really like a genuine, she was really there.
It's so obvious that she was a genuine person.
No, that was a genuine, like, where she was feeling. And she even brought it up. She said, my only regret is maybe I would have told him more in my hometown, but I didn't want to force it if the moment wasn't there. I thought that was interesting because we talked about that, and I think that was the week that it was Cathy and I, but we talked about how, like, if the moment's there, should she have, if that's the way she felt, even if the moment's not there, should she have said it? And she was like, well, I don't want to be like, hey, how are you? Oh, by the way, also, I love you. I
love you too. Oh, sorry. You sold it very well,
Got caught in the moment.
Yeah, I got caught.
It was the eye contact.
Yes. Well, and to that effect, she was feeling this way. This was November? When this all happened, because she was, Final Four. That's roughly around November when it was shot. And now, in March, fast forward, she's already engaged, and thus, but she has this history. She's been
known
off
him for
a long,
the majority
time.
of her life. Yeah.
You know what? And if anything, maybe this pushed her into like, you know what? I do know what I want, and he's in front of my face, and he's been there the whole time, and this just helped me.
His name is Bracy.
Bracy, and it made it black and white for her. You know what I mean? Like, I think this was a help in. Blessing in disguise, is that the phrase?
Yeah.
And another thing is she's actually moving to Seattle.
Yes, that's
to be with him.
The new Bachelor hub, because we have
apparently
Chris, Denise, Jason, Molly. I mean,
Desiree.
That one too. I'm just kidding. Sorry, Desiree. Okay. Now, what I was going to say is they made a lot of, they talked a lot about them kissing.
Mm-hmm.
And I still wonder, and I said this earlier this season, and I'm bringing this up because we brought up Jason. He was approached by producers on his season to, and this is hard to say, to make out with some of the girls when he clearly didn't have feelings for them. Yes, he's said this many times. So I'm wondering, because the girls like Cassandra brought up the fact that, they slightly led Renee on that JP did, Juan Pablo did. Do you think producers might have actually coaxed him into possibly kissing Renee against his feelings towards Renee?
I don't think so. I think that
I'm just going by what Mesnick was saying.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he kissed what he wanted to kiss, and he didn't kiss what he didn't want to kiss.
I did really like Cassandra's point, though, about if you knew what you felt, you should not have done the hometown with Renee.
I agree.
I thought that was a great point that Cassandra made. You should not have done that. And Juan Pablo didn't seem to get that.
He said, he's like, well, I introduced Camilla to all the girls on my
on the first date. It's just a friend.
It's my friend. Like, that is not healthy for your daughter, regardless of, I guess if you say it's a friend, but it's confusing sometimes, and not everyone shares the same ideals.
Let's put this out there. We don't have a daughter or a son, but
my mother was a single mother, and she never introduced me to anyone unless they were serious and had, wanted to take things to the next level.
Yeah, I've never been in that situation, so that's my opinion of it, but that's from a first-person perspective.
Yes, and I completely respect her for that.
Good to know.
So, well wishes to Renee, honestly.
Yeah.
Good for her.
From A to Z, honestly, she was...
I said I've never been so happy for someone that I don't know.
I love that. That's so true. You feel like genuinely happy for her. You want to see people like that happy.
Yeah. Now, moving on to someone who mixed feelings. I'm getting. I read a lot of the boards, and it's. I would say about 70-30 pro Andy. About what happened.
Say even a little more than that.
Would you? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was taken back by the first thing she said. Once again, she said, I could fall in love with him.
In that moment, yeah. She said, in that moment, I felt like I could fall in love with him.
And she's always said that every single time. And I'm like...
Very rehearsed?
Yeah, slightly.
What is it about that makes you feel?
That's the feeling I get. And call me a conspiracy theorist. I'm going to get probably some hate mail here, finally, because I was always called Switzerland. I wonder if she knew that she wasn't really into him, and because she's already put in for her, what was I going to say here? That I just don't buy it. Sometimes I just think she's almost ABC or her. Are they just trying to push her to be the next Bachelorette? Like, this is the perfect platform for her.
I think that they've already made their decision, and I don't know.
I just have that feeling. It's just. I think maybe early on she knew that she wasn't into him, because I keep hearing that same soundbite from her.
I don't think that she knew early on that she wasn't into him. I think that it genuinely was, because you can see, right before she got her one-on-one date, she was just so, she was snuggling with him,
Smitten.
and you can't fake. She looked so genuine in that moment. She wanted to get to know him more. She was falling for him. I think that it was the overnight dates where it just flipped a switch.
Let me ask you guys a question. Do you think that Andy maybe, in the same situation she said she feels like Juan Pablo is doing, do you think she maybe was so attracted to him physically and smitten by that, she went with it and tried to figure out the rest of the pieces later, and then when she found the rest of the pieces, she just realized they didn't connect for her?
Yeah.
That totally.
Because that's kind of what I see. And not that there's anything wrong with that.
Also,
I've been guilty of that before, too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Getting caught in the moment.
You get caught in the moments. It's part of the competition element. And then she got, past a couple dates, and she had, some legit time, and then she was like, these aren't connecting for me.
I've been in relationships where it's just sometimes it's overnight. You're like, whoa.
And she said she had that moment where she looked at him in the fantasy suite and she said, this will never work.
Yeah.
She had that light bulb moment.
Okay.
You know what? But I did like that she said, and she followed up with this, and I thought this was really interesting to give her, to give the other side. She said if she was in Claire's position, she would have done exactly what Claire did. And I thought that was really interesting.
More time. A lot of the girls defended Claire for that.
Yeah.
They didn't like the hot tub part, but they were like, oh, well, I would have done that if I.
I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
You know, and she said all the right things. You know, I think it's predictions, but I'm just thinking it's Sharleen or Andy for Bachelorette. I'm thinking.
I definitely think it's Andy. I've said that from the very beginning. And it does seem like it's very reminiscent of Sean when he was becoming the Bachelor, as he had the perfect answers. It was almost too good, like they were being coached.
Yes. I mean, who else besides Andy? I'm saying Sharleen because the only people that were interviewed tonight were Renee, Sharleen, and Andy.
I can say that it's not going to be Sharleen just because how many people would be upset. They're like, we don't want to see her kiss anyone.
It would be a little awkward. It's a little awkward. You made a comment about Andy's makeup.
I think that it looked professionally done,
What
which
does that mean?
they only do for the bachelors or bachelorettes.
So they don't all get hair and makeup for the show?
No. None of the girls get hair and makeup except the final 2 on the show get a gown donated to them. Or not donated to them. I think it's on loan for, the final rose ceremony. But they do, for the seasons, like for Emily Maynard's season, they dressed her the entire season. They did her hair and makeup. They had someone on set who was, fixing her, like doing her grooming while she was on the dates. No, that's what it's called. It's called grooming.
I know, it's just funny.
And
because I thought of Kelley's dog.
It looked like Andy was airbrushed tonight. So that was kind of I was thinking in the back of my mind, I was like, oh my gosh, are they going to announce that it's Andy tonight? Like,
I was hoping they were.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They usually
right now
don't, though. I think
they
either announce people on the next person on Dancing with the Stars or after the final rose.
I'm feeling very Emily now with Andy.
Yes.
Very Emily-esque. Absolutely. And she's the perfect candidate.
Well, but
strong
Emily
woman.
was a little bit different since she was gone from the franchise for about a year and a half because she was with Brad, and then they broke up, and then they brought Emily back. I think that it's very similar to Sean's situation where perfect answer, like it was edited, and I think that going off the season, since Bachelor and Bachelorette are back-to-back, the editors kind of know their top 3 going into that, so they will edit the season a little bit differently to make those top 3 look better in the season.
So could it be Claire then, or Nikki? Or
It's not Claire or Nikki, I guarantee, because they're so divided. Like you saw the girls when they said Team Claire, Team Nikki, and that's America. Half are Team Claire, half are Team Nikki.
I thought it was interesting when they asked who was Team Claire and who was Team Nikki. Team Claire was most of the girls who were out early. Team Nikki was most of the girls who were around to get to know the situation. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
About the only person who's on Team Claire that was around late was Chelsea.
We
who,
paused.
ironically, we still did, we paused and tried to count. Ironically, we just didn't hear a lot from.
Did Renee say either? I couldn't tell. I think she was like Switzerland. She was
such a. We didn't see her hand. They cut it.
Right.
So we didn't see her hand.
Yeah.
But we didn't see it for Claire, so I assume it's Nikki.
You know what? What's the odds are? What are the odds that Chelsea probably had her own segment we just didn't see? Because remember they.
Oh yeah, they do cut those sometimes.
Yeah.
They cut some of the interviews out. I'm wondering who else we might have missed.
I'm surprised because usually they bring the girl, like the top girls up. Like they would have brought Andy up to sit next to Juan Pablo. I feel like. Or
maybe Kat.
Yeah, because Kat did what? She was top 8, I believe. So.
Cassandra.
Cassandra. It would have been Cassandra.
Cassandra probably had.
Or they would have thrown in the random like funny one, like Lucy or something like that, or Kelley. Yeah.
Lucy would have been a fun one. I don't think she'd have enough substance to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked. It's been such a great show, and I almost want to wrap up, but I forgot. Oh, we still got to talk about Juan Pablo.
The Juan Pablo.
The Juan Pablo, who was very serious in demeanor. I thought
he was snarky from the jump. Like even with the way he gave an "it's okay" to Andy, like intentionally being like,
kind
whatever.
of jerkish, actually.
Yeah.
Really? Would you say?
It was funny,
he was
but
smug.
But part of me was like, don't you do that to Andy?
See, she's already defending Andy. Look at this.
She is. I'm thinking it's just he's so over it because I saw a tweet of his earlier today, and he's almost like he's counting down for this to be over. Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, and didn't we have?
I saw a tweet of him today with Camilla and Carla and Miss Piggy.
Dun dun dun.
Yes.
Picture of the happy family that will end up together.
Yeah, because and it was a fan that a fan brought me that info as well, and he's like, well,
he's Scott McDougal.
Yes, Scott McDougal. So what does that mean to Nikki or Claire?
We'll talk about it in news, but
Ooh.
yeah.
So it is a tease, okay. So what do we think? I mean, of course, the first person that talks to Juan Pablo is Lauren, who ends up becoming so vocal.
I don't understand why she is.
I'm glad that Kelley, because I was thinking it too, and not to the extent of like where I would know what was going on in the house, but Kelley called her out. She was like, I feel like you're a different tune. What you're saying here is just kind of to fit in, whereas in the house you were smitten.
Right.
See, it almost seems like Lauren just wants to be heard. She really wants to be heard.
Yeah, because at first I thought maybe she just got her part of this season got cut up in the editing floor. But
for getting sent home so early, she got a lot of time tonight.
She did. More than Chelsea. I don't get that. I still wanted to hear from Chelsea.
Wait a minute.
You love Chelsea.
Wait a minute. I think I already see it, because I believe Bachelor Pad 4 will be back this season.
Oh, so they're giving time to certain people.
Yes, your Kelleys, your Laurens, your Cats,
Lucy's.
your Lucys. Perfect, and especially now with the upcoming season of Bachelorette, I think the table's being set. They've planned this way ahead.
Right there.
Ay, ay, ay.
Ay, ay, ay.
Holy moly.
No, and Andy defended Juan Pablo in this segment as well. So you're right. I mean, Andy just came off perfect.
It's because she's a defense attorney, and that's her thing. That was the jury. The audience was the jury, and so she was laying it out. Because you don't want to completely destroy the person. You want to lay out the facts, and that almost makes your argument better if you're saying it's not delusional. If you're saying, oh my gosh, they're an awful person. Juan Pablo's not an awful person, but she's saying, and that's what she said. She's like, Juan Pablo's not a bad guy. I never said Juan Pablo was, as I point to you, Juan Pablo's not a bad guy. She never said Juan Pablo was a bad guy, but here's example A, example B, and example C of why it didn't work.
Yes.
Very well. Fans, what do you guys think? I forgot to say hello.
Court.
Yes, order in court. Hey, AfterBuzzTV.com. Hello, guys. We forgot to say hi. Yes. And chat roll as well. Watch our base, Susie Easton, all you guys tuning in. Thank you very much. But if you're not watching us live, hello, YouTube and iTunes. Don't forget to give us 5 stars. We need some comments.
5.
Please. So anything else from, like, Lucy brought up the fact that wanted to be treated equal.
A lot of the girls said that was a resonating thing, or something that a recurring thing.
They wanted individual, unique relationships with them, and they don't feel like they got that.
They didn't like the whole "my special ones" thing. That seemed
I didn't understand his justification for it either. It didn't make sense.
I get that. That is, and I forgot who said. Well, we all left stuff behind. Yes, we understand. Everyone left stuff behind. People left behind, like they didn't get to go to weddings, they didn't get to go to significant events. But leaving behind a child is the most significant thing that you can leave behind.
Yeah, but being called special, they were put in a different category.
And then him saying he's a flip-flopper. He's saying, "Oh no, you guys were all treated equally." Well, then why do you have special ones? Oh, I just say that. No, it doesn't make sense. It's the same reason as why you'll make out with these 7 girls, but you won't kiss these girls because it's bad for your daughter to watch.
He'll kiss Renee, or kiss Cassandra, but he won't kiss Renee.
Kelley said it perfectly. She's like, "Oh, well, Camilla's watching, but you didn't say that when you were in the ocean."
Yeah. I forgot about that. That was a great line.
That is a dig. That's a burn and a half.
Well, and then Kelley brought up perhaps the most controversial subject, his comments about being homophobic and gay, having a gay bachelor, and that they're more pervert. And that's where we saw the tears.
But this is where I thought was extremely interesting, because who came to his defense? Sharleen.
What did she say? Remind me.
She ended up saying, defending him about that they had personal one-on-one time, and he spoke about gay equality. So that's... Where's the truth?
Yeah.
It's, Chris Harrison has brought up the fact that he's very conservative, and that culturally that he is different from any other bachelor that they've had. So I don't know if what he's trying to say, that that he has his views, but and then of course he brought up the fact that he has many gay friends, and
that's not a good
he's not getting out of it.
I think, who is the girl that said, she's like, well, I didn't, is her name Victoria or something? I forget her name.
Victoria.
Where she said, I didn't learn English until I was 15 years old, and I don't ever use that as an excuse, because it's not a good excuse.
Yeah, she got a little spicy in the back, and then Kelley goes, "Say it to me in Spanish." And he's like, "We can talk for an hour on camera. I'm not going to try to do it in 4 minutes."
Also, I would like to say that Kelley tweeted to, someone asked her tonight whether Juan Pablo and her did get to talk afterwards.
Great
and
question.
She said negative.
Ooh.
So he did not take the time
Oh yeah,
talk to her.
Robin Ross
TVG asked, well, Kelley Travesty, did you guys really talk after WTA about it? And Kelley just responded negative.
Wow.
So obviously
he did not care enough, even though he pretended to.
Yeah, because with her saying that, I thought she would justify, like, you know, due to the heat of the moment, but no, negative. Seems like nothing was even, on his part, he even tried.
Is it a lose-lose situation for Juan Pablo? If he talks to her, it doesn't, you know what I mean?
It's not on air. Why would, you know?
I think he's so done with the process.
I think so, too. I think you're right.
I think he just wants, he's feeling his obligation.
Yeah.
I need to get out of here. I'm done.
Got his paycheck. Bye.
Still getting his paycheck.
Yes. So, any final thoughts? We had I guess, was it a preview of next week? And did we get anything really out of it?
Chris Harrison did say that something happens that we've never seen before. He goes, I can promise you there's something you've never seen before. That could literally be anything, but I have a feeling it might be something big.
What I said last week.
They always say that.
No, well, they do, but he said, I promise you there's something you've never seen before.
Carla.
Them getting back together, or
let me use this ring from Neil Lane to propose to my ex.
To re-propose to
Oh my God.
That would get ratings.
That would get ratings.
That would be
They'll get a lot of buzz, and it would make our show fantastic.
Carla, and then her lower third would just be mother ex. That's her job.
Former baby mama, now the new. Yes. All right. So final thoughts on tonight's episode. Anything?
I did want a little more.
You want a little more?
Just a little bit. Just,
like a half an hour more?
I want to be there. Actually, I would have loved to be there. I would love to like sit in and hear all of it because I think there's probably a ton we didn't get to hear.
Oh, of course.
Also, I have to say is we were backstage a couple seasons ago at the Bachelor Pad finale, the taping, and they have the alcohol flowing backstage, so I wouldn't be surprised if some of those girls were a little bit tipsy when they were up there because they want them to be looser with their words.
The truth serum, absolutely. Yes. And finally, Victoria, I thought it was perfect comeuppance for her because the way she left, she's like, I got you here at the end, you know, with Juan Pablo. So it's just, it's all tied in. I definitely think that's so, but do we got news and gossip?
Yes, we do.
Cathy.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So, we already talked about Renee's engagement. Congrats to her. Also, I want to talk about the Bachelor community has kind of all put in their 2 cents about Juan Pablo, from Kaylin to Sean Lowe to Jeff Holm to Jillian Harris. All of them are either talking about how they don't think he was a good bachelor, or quote from Jillian Harris, I don't see a forever. So it seems like the girls aren't the only ones who have negative things to say about this season.
And they know the process. So, you know, I've defended them all season. It's the editing. But if they're saying it, they've been in it, something's up. I hate to say that.
And then last piece of quick news, Lucy, our favorite naked girl, did a People Style watch about the best clothing of the night at the Women Tell All.
Ironic.
Best and worst dressed at the Women Tell All. She named Sharleen, Kelley, and herself as the 3 best dressed.
Herself.
And then
Amazing.
The worst dressed, she said Elise. My least favorite was Elise. She wore sparkling gowns that looked like they were made out of broken disco balls all season long. She should have continued with that theme.
Wow.
All right.
She won't be getting a Christmas card from her. And we didn't get a one-on-one with her. I would have thought she would have had maybe a one-on-one as well.
Probably did.
Yeah. So we missed that one too. Is that it? Is that all we got?
That is.
Sure. All right. So let's move on to
your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Oh.
Wow, that one's fancy.
That's new.
That's fancy.
Our fancy predictions. So next week, what do we got going on? Oh, it's
the final 2. When to be.
Okay.
Have we ever had just 2?
What?
Like 2 girls? Yes.
When?
Every season?
Yeah.
No. But after somebody leaves like this, have we ever had where somebody walks out like this?
Yeah.
Am I missing? Am I just drawing a blank right now?
Yep.
It's really late here at AfterBuzz TV. And yes.
It's literally midnight.
All right. So what do we see next week? Okay, I'm gonna give you a quick prediction. It has nothing to do. I wrote it down while I was watching the Women Tell All, and it's about Andy.
Okay.
This is my prediction. If I can find it in my notes.
Oh, if she comes back?
No, it's more of what. Okay, verbatim. I have a feeling that she's going to be the next Bachelorette. Just the way
Me too.
they did it. She's going to be on Dance with the Stars next fall, and she'll end up being GMA's legal correspondent 2015.
Interesting.
Wow,
that's huge.
That's some predictions in the future. Where do you see Andy in 3 years?
Ask me
okay,
in
how about 5 years?
Isn't that really close? Okay. As for next week, I've been saying it for weeks. I think it just seems like he introduced Nikki to. You said it, Cathy.
It's Nikki for sure.
It's Nikki's to
She's
lose.
the only one that he introduced his daughter and the rest of his family to. It's unless he does introduce his daughter to everyone, he didn't introduce his daughter to the 6 friends that he had left at the time. So I don't know.
Danny, if you think of this, what if Sharleen comes back and he says, "Forget the other 2"?
No way.
Okay.
No way, no how.
The way that she was talking tonight, it was open-ended. She's like, what was it? I think it was Ashley Fraser or someone on the Women Tell All or After the Final Rose somewhere said, well, if you're single again, call me. Who was that? It was on some season. And I kind of feel like that's Sharleen. I kind of feel like she's like, oh, well, if it doesn't work out, Juan Pablo, call me.
AfterBuzzers, let's ask them that. Please, if you guys can find out who said that, we would love you bunches.
Yes.
Please, let us know.
It was a lot of bit desperate.
Danny, prediction.
I definitely think it is Nikki. And I think that I just think it's Nikki. I'm gonna save what I have to say for next week.
All right, AfterBuzzers as well. Let us know who you think. If it's Nikki, Claire, someone else. What scenario do you see?
I agree with Jillian Harris too that I don't think it's a forever.
Nope.
All right. With that said, so Danny, where can they find you?
You can find me at Danny Hoyt on Twitter and Instagram.
You can find me on Twitter at Catherine Kelley.
And you can find me at JC Rubio TV because I know Steven, you can find him here running the 1s and 2s every week. So for Danny, Cathy, Steven, I'm JC. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
It's okay.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.